Hey everybody, last video providing guidance on the reading of the semester. Wow, this summer is flying by. Today I'm recording in my USA jersey. Well, that's my side. I'm wearing it because we're playing Argentina tonight, this country that I study in my dissertation research. So I have no uncertainties about my loyalties. It's with the United States, but a lot of messages will be coming in from all of my friends in Argentina regarding the result. Hopefully it's a positive one, but it is a tall order against a team of the talent of Argentina. So timely that we finish the semester on soccer. In some ways, I've saved soccer for last because of the timing I knew that would happen with both the Copa America and Euro tournaments being in full swing, but also maybe in a sense that it's an outlier sport and one that you might not have expected that we devote explicit attention to in this class. But here we are with two readings, really interesting readings that I hope you enjoy, and a couple thoughts on what you should be looking out for. So Franklin Foer's reading, it's one of, I think he has 10 chapters in this book on how soccer explains the world, and how soccer explains the world, and this one's on the United States. So you read the prologue to the book explaining the project and the author's familiarity with the sport from his perspective in the United States. And I think many of you can probably relate to youth soccer. It's something that seems ubiquitous amongst young people in the United States that they've played soccer, even if you have become an athlete in a different sport or have lost interest in sports altogether. It's very likely that you played youth soccer at some point, or herdball, as it tends to be. But in that prologue, I found myself thinking about my own AYSO team. We were also maroon, as the author's team was, and I remember they would always call us purple, and we would always correct them on that and say we're maroon, as if we were really loyal to that color. Other things I remember about growing up, being thoroughly co-ed, that was definitely the pinnacle of my soccer career, because I came from an immigrant family that taught me the fundamentals. I was a star player, and that remained the only star period of my soccer career. Now just a not embarrassing player. But yeah, it's really interesting to think about how Foer's chapter lays out a period in the history of the United States that many of us are contemporary to, even if I might be a bit older than some of you in the class. That kind of structure around youth soccer is still one that many of you have likely experienced. And it's really amazing to see the transformations in just the time from that chapter being published, that book being published in 2004, to our landscape now. Franklin Foer talks about Fox Soccer World, a channel that I used to watch over at my friend's house, whose parents paid for the expensive subscription, the extended sports package. It wasn't even on the normal sports package that you paid extra money for, but an even greater layer of cost to subscribe to Fox Soccer World, and we would pay for pay-per-view events to watch the Champions League. And now soccer is really easy to watch. As I speak, we're between the earlier games of the Euros, where Germany's group was playing, and the next group kicks off at 3 o'clock. So those will all be broadcast, streaming online for free in many instances. And then we'll have a Copa America match tonight. So without any kind of fancy cable subscription, you can watch 5 soccer games today, probably more, with other Latin American leagues happening. So the media landscape has definitely changed in how the author Foer lays out that it's kind of hard to watch soccer, and now he's in the glory days of satellite subscriptions. Now it's even more ubiquitous with the Premier League leading the way, no doubt. And the other change that I was thinking about when I was rereading this chapter is how references to soccer have changed both in popular culture and in the wider sports mediascape. Um, some of you may know Jim Rome. He seems not to be as popular as he was, maybe in the early 2000s. Kind of a blowhard, but the the kind of derision that's often been targeted, it's often been hurled at soccer. It's not it's not really, or at least in my experience, it's not as noticeable as it once was. I remember growing up playing soccer, especially with the success of the women's team. I remember homophobic slurs towards soccer players, and I just don't. And again, this is not based on any personal experiences, but it seems like today's kids aren't subject to the same kind of abuse for playing soccer. Um, it's a little bit more of a mainstream activity, and the kind of insults from people who are involved in other sports don't make as much sense, because I think it's become a greater part of the sporting landscape, and more people enjoy watching it than at least my experience was growing up. Many of you might be watching this video and have different experiences or different opinions on the place of soccer in the kind of popular imaginary in the United States, but at least in my experience, it's gone from one of needing to feel like I needed to defend myself for playing or liking soccer to one where people of all kinds of backgrounds and all kinds of sporting loyalties enjoy, the Cleveland Cavaliers as much as they do the Columbus Crew. So it's interesting to read that chapter just based on your own reflections about soccer in the United States, but also to think about the political landscape that Forward separates soccer into two camps on. It's really marked by 9/11 as the defining feature of the 2004 political landscape, which makes perfect sense when we think back about what was happening in our history at that time. One of the key markers in the camps that he separates are support or opposition to the Iraq War. The picture he draws of a yuppie cosmopolitan culture may not be one that makes as much sense in today's political landscape or today's even socioeconomic landscape. We have different ways of referencing that kind of a grouping of people in popular culture, and the kinds of United States exceptionalism, USA first mentality that he ascribes to another camp also may not make sense, especially with events with the Republican primaries, the nomination of Trump, who curiously has not come up this week, but came up last week in two of our readings. But yeah, that chapter, what I want you to be looking for are what Forward tries to lay soccer on top of. He's saying soccer explains something about the U.S. culture wars. And so how does he draw the borders of those culture wars, and how does he lay soccer on top of them? Pay particular attention to class, lifestyle, location in the urban environment. And then we move on to Goldblatt's reading. David Goldblatt's book, The Ball is Round, is kind of the 1,000-page soccer Bible. David's a friend, great guy, journalist for the BBC, and a man of many of vast expertise on a number of subjects. But the book he wrote is cut up into chronological pieces and then goes about the globe. So the reason the reading is kind of chopped up this week is because those are within chapters that he's going from the United States to Central America to South America over to Africa, all within, say, a 30-year period. So hopefully that doesn't throw you off too much in how disjointed the reading may seem as you jump from page to page. But that work, it kind of stands alone as a straight through narrative about the history of soccer's arrival to the United States to its current place in our sporting landscape. And what I want you to be paying particular attention to in that chapter are the periods that soccer has had success in this country and the periods that it's had failures. So where and when are there viable leagues? When and where are there large communities that are interested in soccer, spending money on soccer, pushing for participation or a space for soccer in their local or regional sporting landscapes? And what are the reasons that they were successful or not? Was it management of those particular leagues? Was it the state of other sports in the United States that interfered with soccer being a success? So take a look at what David has to say about where soccer is being played and the reasons that it's popular or it's not. And as you read that chapter, also think about what consuming soccer looks like today, and take some time to think about what he has to say about the MLS, about women's professional leagues, and about the relative success of the international team, of the U.S. men's and women's national teams on the international stage, and why it might be surprising that those successes are not more recognized. So those are kind of the key things you should be looking out for the quiz's purpose and also for the writing prompt. If we take a look at the writing prompt, you'll really see that it's geared towards the main points of both readings. So what I'm looking for you to write about is when and where soccer has been successful in the United States. Give me a sense that you understand why, so the reasons for those successes and failures. And then what I'm getting at with the meanings assigned to those meanings failures, Forward goes after that directly, right? What does it mean that soccer is unpopular or popular in the United States? So he goes after the political significance of it, or is trying to tie it to cultural conflict, culture wars, right? But give me a sense of what the meanings are of that successes and failures based on what both Goldblatt and Forward are laying out, right? So you can go after Forward's obvious point there, but dig deep into the reading and do your own thinking about what meanings are attached to that as well. So good luck with that. If you have any questions about the readings or the question, the writing prompt or the quiz, please send me a message. Good luck with your oral histories. I'm really looking forward to listening to them or seeing them, and best of luck with the rest of your summers.